Hello, I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And today in the kitchen, we're going to be doing a few things a little different. You know, number one, I hope you're at home because that's where we're all supposed to be, and that you're able to work from home. And if you're one of those essential people who have to go out, God bless you. And I pray that you stay safe. Keep that mask on, keep your safe distance from other people, and just keep yourself covered in prayer. Today in the kitchen, we're going to be doing two things. We are going to prepare some Italian pork chops. And I love them. They're served over spaghetti and kind of has a red gravy sauce that goes over those pork chops. And then with them, we are going to have a cheddar and onion and garlic roll to go with it. So if you're ready to see what we're going to be doing in this kitchen, I hope that you'll stay right there. And while you're there, tap on that thumbs up, give me a thumbs up, tap on that subscribe, and please hit the notification bell because I'll be back. I'm going to bring some more things to you. So, and let's get to cooking. All right, I've turned you down so you can see exactly what I'm going to be doing to make the cheddar and green onions and garlic biscuits. Now, I've got flour in my container. This is a large, at least a gallon, 2-gallon container that I keep my flour in. And let me get a knife because we want to do it right. I have a cup that I know measures exactly 1 cup that I use for measuring my flour. So there's 1. There's 2. And there's 3, and that should be enough. Now this particular dough, I'm going to keep this handy because I already know I'm going to need to add just a little sprinkle of flour later on. So we'll keep that right there. Now I'm going to put this off to the side because we need to prepare the liquids. I have 1 cup of very hot water. I have a 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, so I'm putting those together, and I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of grapeseed oil because that's my oil of choice. If yours is olive oil, that's fine. Whatever your oil is that you like, but I typically like grapeseed oil. And there's my tablespoon. So that's all in there. I'm going to just kind of give that a stir, and there we go. That part's ready. Now we need a teaspoon of yeast, and I'm probably going to use about 1.5 teaspoons, just because. Okay, I had to pull the yeast out of the freezer because, you know, that's where it stays. And so I'm taking that out. I'm getting my teaspoon. And I think I'll just put in 1 heaping teaspoon of yeast. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to sprinkle it on one side of the flour. And you'll see why I'm doing that in just a moment. On the other side of the flour, I'm going to add in a teaspoon of pink Himalaya salt. 1 teaspoon. And that's going to go on the opposite side. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference in the colors. You can see the pink over here, and you can see the yeast over here. Now, what we will do in just a second, let me get my favorite spoon, which is my wooden spoon. It's nice and sturdy. And we're going to take this and we're going to give it a stir. And we're going to get this well mixed. Well mixed. Woo! I'm getting a little wild here. Don't want to lose everything. So there's our well mixed flour. And then I'm going to make a well in the center and start to add in the liquid. So remember, in here we have the milk, we have the water, and we have the oil. So I'm going to take these because they're dirty and drop them into the sink. Now I'm using this end of my spoon. And I'm going to pour in the liquid. That goes in the sink. Then I'm going to take the back and I'm going to start to mix. Now I don't want to mix it too much because this is what we're going to do. I have a cup of cheese. Now I really only probably need about half of that. And like always, we want to do a little stir, see how it looks. Okay, I've got the green onion, and I have exactly 1/4 cup of green onions that have been chopped finely. Look at that green. Isn't that pretty? You can see it even from where you are. Let's see the green and how it mixes in. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to add a little more cheese. In fact, I'm just going to put all that in there. And I need a teaspoon of garlic. I did forget. Don't get upset. I forgot the garlic. Let me get it. Okay. Got the garlic. I keep my garlic in a Ziploc bag so that, number one, should it spill, it will stay in the bag. And number two, it cuts down on the smell. So, I think what I'll do first is that I'm going to add in some of the juice. And that's about a tablespoon of the juice and just a little sprinkle of garlic. And I'm going to kind of spread that out because I don't want it all in the same place. And now we're going to stir. And you're going to stir. And you can see it's very, very wet and very, very sticky. Now this is good because we want a well-hydrated dough. Okay, so our dough is ready. I like that. You can just smell the onions, see the cheese, all of that. It's ready to go. Now what we're going to do is that I'm going to cover this with a towel, and I am going to sit this bowl in a nice warm place. Now my best place that I use for rising my bread is my microwave. And I just sit it right in there, move anything out. I don't turn it on. It's just in there in a nice tight spot. So those things go in those things are going to go in the sink. I'm going to put a towel over this, and this is going to go in the microwave for at least an hour. We'll look at it after an hour, and if it seems like it needs a little more time, we'll give it more time. Okay, let's work on the pork chops. Now, I have a pork loin, and this pork loin is about 3.5 pounds. So what I'm going to do is to, first of all, put down some paper towel, because you know when things come out, meat comes out of the wrapping, it's going to be a little juicy, and I want to avoid as much cleanup as possible. So we're going to be able to pick that up. So I'm going to open that up. And actually, I think I'm going to hang this over the sink for just a minute to kind of get rid of some of the juices. You know, guys, there are days when you think that you got everything planned out just perfectly. But unfortunately, the best laid plans of mice and men kind of fall apart. All right, so we'll talk about that a little later. So I have my pork loin. It's been, I've gotten all the juices off, and we've started to cut it. So I'm cutting it about 2 inches thick, and just a good estimate. And as you can see on the bottom, there's a layer of fat. Now that I don't want. So that's the reason why I'm cutting that portion off. And, you know, if I were cooking something where I really needed a lot of pork fat, I could certainly save this and use it later. I could probably even, you know, some people used to use it in biscuits. You know, they would render it out and then use that fat for biscuits. Well, we're not doing that. So I am trying to get rid of the fat, cut the fat. So I'm going to take the larger piece, because I'm going to cut 4 chops for tonight. And then the larger piece I'm going to put in a Ziploc bag, get it good and seasoned, and we're going to prepare barbecue with it another night. So I've got, I'm just going to trim as much of that fat and any silver skin, because what I'll do is that I won't stop to do any of this. I will just drop it into a crock pot and be ready to move on the next time I take this out of the freezer. So I'm just kind of taking my time and trimming things up, getting as much of the fat off as possible. I have to laugh, and I'm gonna tell you this in the midst of all this while I'm trimming, that I actually had to do this video 3 times. Well, I'll put it this way: I had to do the video editing 3 times. It seems like every time I got the video edited, that something would happen. I can't believe it. I just can't. Okay, so let's continue on. So we're just continuing to trim, and we are just about finished with that process. But you know what, the thing about trimming, you look at it and you think, oh, well, let me take a little bit of this off. Let me take a little bit of that off. Now, so that's exactly what's happening here. Please be careful if you're going to use a knife. And I don't know if you can see the big guy over there moving around, but those are his words as he's standing there. You can see his hand. He's over there saying, Leona, please be careful with that knife. And so I am trying to do what I need to do and not stop, roll my eyes, and continue on, because that's usually what I do. And so when he's trying to, I just want him out of the kitchen. Go out of the kitchen. I'm good to go. So our pork loin is trimmed as about as much as it can be trimmed. The chops are ready. I need to throw all of this away and clean up. So let's get that part done, and we will be ready to move on. All right, we've trimmed our pork, and I'm going to take the larger piece because that's going to be the part that's going to go into the crock pot. So we need to season it up, and I can put this in my hot soapy water back here, as well as the scissors. Let's get a spoon, and we'll start everything nice and clean and fresh. So I'm going to add in some garlic. I still have the garlic out. And I'm going to get a spoonful of garlic and sprinkle it over it, because we want it to have lots of flavor. Okay, and I want house seasoning. So I am going to layer on house seasoning, about 2 teaspoons. I'm going to flip this over. I can use my hands, and you'll see some's going to drop off. And we're going to turn that over. Add in the 2nd teaspoon. Okay. And that's good to go. Now, I'll put the garlic up. Got the house seasoning. Oh, excuse me. Whew. I'm going to add in the ends of the spring onions. I'm just going to kind of drop those in. They'll be a part of the seasoning pack. And I'm going to get the top on this container and into the refrigerator it's going to go. All right, I've got our 4 chops, and I am going to, I'm not going to touch them, but I'm going to sprinkle some of our house seasoning on top of each. And I'm going to flip them over. Do another little shaker, shaker, shaker. And then I am going to add into this bag some of my Kentucky Kernel seasoned flour. I love this stuff. It is so good, and it just seasons up perfectly. And of course, being a Kentucky girl, I just have to support that name as long as it's good. So it's easy to find. It's in all the stores now. It used to be that it was kind of at a premium because you couldn't find it everywhere. But now it has become a household name. So I'm going to just sprinkle some of this into the bag. Just a little. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to sprinkle in some regular flour into the bag. I'm going to use one of these little cups. Dip in there, get us some flour. And I'm just kind of 50-50 of regular flour and the seasoning flour. And the reason for that is that the seasoned flour is pretty strong, and plus we've already added some seasoning to our chops. So I'm just going to put those in there, give them a little shake, shaker, shaker. Put that in, give it a little shaker, shaker. And one more. Throw that in. Now, I'm going to try to get as much of the air out first. All right. And then I can really shake. Give it a good shake. Shake a tail feather. And have those nice and coated. Now I'm going to leave those in there until I'm ready to go to the stove. And they're going to be perfect. Now, these are not your normal fried pork chops because we're going to give it a twist. They are actually going to simmer in some gravy. They are going to be fried initially. And then they're going to go into a gravy. So, stay tuned. All right, we are going to, let me see if I can lift you up enough that you can see me, but yet and still you'll be able to see the stove as well. Not that, you know, it's that great to see me, but it is kind of nice to have the audience as a part of what's going on. And I get to talk to you. So let's see what we can do here and get you where I want you to be. I think that'll work for right now. Okay, so do I need you up? Yeah, just a little bit. All right, we're good to go. Now, we're going to be using this skillet tonight. You know that I have the pork chops that have been seasoned, and I am placing a really good layer of grapeseed oil into the skillet. I could have just poured it, but it is what it is. This is the nozzle I have on here. Didn't want to take it out, so I have probably about 1/8 of an inch of oil that is down in the bottom of this pan. The good thing about grapeseed oil is that it is healthy for you, and it has a high heating point, so I can fry with it if I need to, or whatever it is that I want to bake with, or whatever, you know, whatever I'm working with, it will work. So I've got the oil in there. I'm going to get the pork chops, and once this starts to get wavy and I know that it's not nice and hot, then I will add the pork chops in. Now this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to brown off these pork chops. Now we're going to get them fairly crispy, but I don't want them dried out. So I want them to look pretty initially. I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to pour off a little bit of the fat if there's a lot of fat. Add some vegetables, including onions in there. And I'm going to make an Italian gravy. So that's where we're going. Then we're going to put those pork chops back into the gravy and let them simmer for a good hour. And all of that is going to be served over spaghetti, and with a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese and spring onions. So I'll see you in a minute. So our cheddar rolls are finished. How about that? Well, let me show you what just came out of the microwave, and they are ready to go into the oven. There's our rolls. Aren't they beautiful? So I'm going to put them, the oven is set on 375, and I think it's going to take somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes for them to bake, because we don't want them to brown, but we want them to be beautiful and golden. Okay? I'll see you then. Well, guess what? They spent about 30 minutes in the oven, and you can hear their taps. They are ready to come out. I'm going to bring them out of off the hot pan and onto my surface. They need to cool a little bit because they are too hot to eat. I'll put this off to the side. Get my rack. You know, I got this rack through Amazon way before the pandemic, and I am so glad I did. That's the best thing I purchased. My son said, "Oh, go on Amazon. They can get it. You got two, and they are delicious. They are great." So these rolls look so wonderful. There's the top, there's the bottom. Aren't they pretty? The cheese is melted on top. Woo-hoo-hoo. Can't wait. They are way too hot to have for dinner. Or to have right now anyway. We will have them for dinner. But wow, that's going to be good. Dinner's just about ready, guys. So I'll bring you back. Here's our rolls. You will not believe, but when I got ready to put this video together, I discovered that the camera had cut off. So guess what? I was not able to give you the whole recipe and to show you how I put that gravy together. But you know what? Before this pandemic is over, and probably even before the month is over, I will give you that Italian gravy recipe because it is delicious. It is so easy to make, and I know your family's gonna love it because you made it yourself and it didn't take long at all. But let me tell you, those pork chops, once they're simmered in that Italian gravy and you put it over your pasta, yum, yum. You're gonna love it. And then dip your cheddar your onion roll down into it slathered with a little butter, and dinner is served. Have a blessed and wonderful evening. I hope you'll take a few moments to make sure that if you're not subscribed, that you will. And if you are a part of the family, that you'll continue to come and to be a part of the kitchen. And if you're new to the kitchen, woohoo, come back, because we've got all kinds of things that are going on right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, where we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. God bless you and stay safe.